I'm Chris, you're watching FRAG-MENTAL. Another brand new release for you today. This one is the latest in the line of Aqua di Gio flankers. This time it's a blue fragrance, it's called Profondo. The original Aqua di Gio was released in the 90s and it just proved to be a massively popular scent. Right up there with things like Aventus, just everyone was wearing it. So much so that, like Jean-Paul Gaultier's La Malle, it was kind of associated with that time period, with the 90s, but it's still very popular today. Many people wear it. I had a friend who swore by it until I started getting him onto other fragrances. Some people claim the original Aqua di Gio is a little dated. I can see why, because it is a smell that we associate, with the time it was released in the 90s, but the fragrance itself, the scent profile itself, it's just lovely, bright, aquatic, citruses. So I don't think it's a dated smell. I think the associations with the time it was released make us feel like it's a little bit dated. So we've had loads of flankers in this line that have also been very popular, particularly Aqua di Gio Profundo, which I have here. This one always crops up on top 10 lists, particularly top 10 summer lists. Very popular fragrance, took the DNA of the original and just made it a little thicker, a little richer, sweetened things up a little bit. It was more full-bodied, added really nice incense in here and had some culinary notes with sage and rosemary. So really nice scent, very popular scent. We also had the Aqua di Gio flankers of Absolute and Absolute Instinct. Now I'm not so familiar with those, I have smelled them in store, but I've not really worn them properly, so can't really comment too much on how they compare to this new one. But today we're talking about the brand new flanker. This is, as you might be able to tell from the bottle, their aquatic marine blue fragrance. So let's dive into my thoughts on this one. First of all, we'll take a closer look at the bottle and the notes. In Aqua di Gio Profondo, we have marine notes, bergamot, green mandarin, rosemary, lavender, cypress, mastic, which is a pine-like resin, amber, mineral notes, patchouli and musk. While we're here on the close-up of this bottle, first of all, I think it looks really nice. I think this blue frosted glass is a really nice addition to the Aqua di Gio line. One thing that I have noticed, just when comparing it to my Profumo bottle, is the cap is not magnetic. It just clicks into place. So it's not a deal breaker. I do enjoy that magnetic cap on Profumo. I just think it adds an extra touch of class. So we don't get a magnetic cap on this one, certainly the one that I have here for this video. So just thought I'd point that out just in case it was something that might concern some people, probably not, but I just felt it was worth mentioning. Alright, so let's get into my thoughts about the scent. First of all, let's talk about the opening. The opening of Profondo is gorgeous. We get this lovely, sweet mandarin. It's fresh, it's invigorating. The mandarin starts off quite sweet and more like an orange mandarin. So nice and fruity. It's got a lovely kind of fruity pop to the fragrance. And then after about 20 minutes, this mandarin seems to kind of transition to be more of a green mandarin. So it becomes a little more sour and a little kind of less ripe and juicy smelling. So it's a nice transition actually, because this green mandarin just really fits nicely with the marine accords that it's combined with here in the opening. So we've got these aquatic, slightly salty marine accords, a little bit of sourness in there. Kind of reminds me of the yuzu in the opening of the 2016 version of Invictus Aqua. It's not a sweet fragrance like that. It doesn't have that Invictus Aqua sweet bubblegum DNA underpinning the fragrance. This is a much kind of sharper fragrance, more sour, less sweet. It's got this kind of, salty marine accord. I would probably say the lovely opening to this, you pretty much get this mandarin for around about the first hour of the fragrance. Interesting little story when I sprayed this, when I've been testing it. So I'm here on the top floor of my house, and my wife and kids were downstairs, so which is 2 floors down. So I sprayed this quite a way away from them, and I got downstairs kind of 30 minutes later and they said, have you just sprayed something down here? Because it smells really nice, it smells sweet and fruity. I said, no, the only thing I've sprayed was right up on the top floor, and it was Profondo. So they really enjoyed the opening. I think they found it very, very pleasing. And I was quite surprised that they smelled it, because whilst it projects nicely and it's got a lovely little pop, I was surprised that the molecules managed to find their way all, down 2 floors in the house, right down onto the ground floor. But they picked it up, they smelled it, so I guess it does travel, and that probably means it's got a pretty decent sillage. So after about an hour, this mandarin just begins to fade, and the kind of salty, marine-like aquatic notes seem to come more to the forefront. And I believe that a new molecule was, I think by Firmenich, was patented and used in this fragrance. It's called Aqua, and I think it's just a molecule that gives us this kind of feeling of marine-like accord, this deep blue sea. In fact, Profondo translates from Italian into English as the deep, and you do get this deep blue sea feeling with the fragrance. I would say after the opening though, as you get into the mid and we've got these aquatic notes, it does seem to kind of rein in and dial back on the projection. So I think the projection for the first hour is really nice with that lovely fruity pop, and then as it starts to dry into the heart of the fragrance, we lose some projection. It is still projecting nicely, and we are getting the marine accords projecting a little bit, but not quite as much as that fruity opening to the fragrance. Also in the heart, there's a slight culinary feel, which is something that we got with Profumo as well. And in this one, we have rosemary. So the rosemary here is giving us that culinary feel. We've also got some cypress, which gives us this kind of slightly fresh green accord, and there's some lavender as well. So all these things are combining with these nice marine aquatic notes. So the heart is very pleasant, if maybe leaning a little generic, but there's only so many iterations of blue type scents that I guess you can put together. So to me, the heart of this does lean a little kind of generic blue scent. You will feel like you've smelled this fragrance type before. I do prefer the opening. I think the opening is more assertive and more interesting than the mid, but the mid is okay. It's fine. As it dries down, it becomes closer to a skin scent. So I think we're probably talking around about the 4-hour mark. You've got a skin scent, but it's a very pleasant skin scent. It becomes smoother. We lose the fruits, we lose the aquatic notes, and to me, on my skin, it became a nice kind of smooth ambery scent. I wasn't really getting a lot of patchouli in this, so I don't think it's a strong dose of patchouli, but I was getting a kind of nice rounded smoothness, perhaps coming from the amber, and there's some musks in here. So it does dry down to a very pleasant skin scent, albeit very close to the skin, and I don't think you're really getting a lot of projection after around about the 4 to 5 hour mark.
Join the Scent Geeks every Monday as we podcast about all things fragrance. You'll find us anywhere you can usually find a podcast. Links are in the description below this video. See you there, geeks.
This one takes that original Aqua di Gio DNA and modernises it a bit more and makes it feel a little more contemporary. Out of the two, I probably enjoy them both equally, I would say. I love the original Aqua di Gio. It's bright, it's fresh, it's citrusy, it's more citrusy than this one, in fact. But the original is less aquatic and kind of less sea salty than this one. So I do enjoy those both equally. I think I would have to say I do prefer Profumo to this one, because I like that Profumo is still fresh and very easy to wear in the summer, but it's a little richer and sweeter, more full-bodied. If I was going to criticise this fragrance, I would say I would like to have seen this have more richness and kind of more filled out, much like Profumo really. I know that it wanted to be its own thing, and to make a bright and breezy aquatic scent, you don't want to go too rich and too full-bodied, but given that the name Profondo means the deep, I think we could have gone for a deeper blue scent, whereas this one is quite a surface scent. It's more like the surface of the ocean rather than the deep ocean. Perhaps they could have carried over some of that incense from Profumo just to make this just a more filled out fragrance. I know we would have been getting more into Bleu de Chanel territory with that incense, but I still think that it could have worked with this fragrance. So personally, I would like to have seen this be a little more rich, a little more interesting, slightly more complex than it actually is. But if you just want a bright and breezy, fresh aquatic take on Aqua di Gio, then you'll probably quite enjoy this one. For me, if I'm going to be completely honest, it does lean a little too much to the generic. So I feel like in my collection I have blue type marine fragrances that I find more interesting than this one, that I would reach for over this. So I can't see myself wearing this because I just don't enjoy it as much as some of the other blue scents. Some of them that I have, I'll just show you those quickly. I really enjoy Dolce & Gabbana's light blue Eau Intense. I feel that that has a better performance. I think it's a more interesting fragrance. Also the same with Bleu de Chanel. I have the Eau de Parfum here. I love that scent. And we have Tom Ford's Mandarino di Amalfi Acqua. Again, this is quite a light aquatic type scent. We have that mandarin note that we have in Profondo, but I do get better performance from this. This isn't as salty as Profondo, but I do get better performance out of that, considering this is the Aqua version as well. And then if we're getting into niche territory, then Parfum de Marly Percival, and that's a beautiful take on a blue fragrance. And as with all Parfum de Marly, it's rich, it's full-bodied, it's deep. You get great performance, so Percival is fantastic. I've recently been really enjoying Atelier des Ors Riviera Lazuli. This has some kind of fresher green notes in, like some slightly pine notes and cypress notes. So that to me makes this one more interesting than Profondo. Also, better performance than Profondo. And then I just picked out one of my Acqua di Parma Blue Mediterraneo fragrances. This one is Murto de Panarea. I picked this one out because it does have some culinary facets, just like Profondo does, but you could pretty much pick any of the fragrances from that Blue Mediterraneo line. So all those fragrances that I've just shown you, I prefer to Acqua di Gio Profondo, so I probably will not be keeping hold of this. I'll move it on because I just would not choose to reach for it when I've got these other fragrances that I prefer. So the main thing that all the other fragrances have that this doesn't is better performance. So let's talk about the performance of this. As I mentioned, the opening projection of that first hour, that lovely kind of sweeter, juicier mandarin that then transitions to be green, is lovely. So the first hour is very nice, and I like that in that first hour we have a development and a transition, and that is the best part of this fragrance. If it could have retained that fruitiness more throughout the life of the fragrance, I think I would prefer this one. In terms of projection, yeah, so you're getting around an hour of projection, and then it just becomes this aquatic skin scent, really. And then in terms of longevity on the skin, this one was lasting me around about 6 to 7 hours, so it's not bad performance. If you're in warmer weather or a warmer environment, then that may improve the longevity a little bit. I actually wore this in normal circumstances, but I also wore it to the gym because I wanted to see if it improved performance when my skin heated up and in a warmer environment, and it didn't really make too much of a difference. So I think if you wore this on a hot summer's day, it would be a little bit better, but I don't think the warmer temperatures would make too much of a difference. So the performance I would describe as okay, just average, not that fantastic. In terms of occasions, so this would be a summer scent, maybe a summer daytime scent when you just want to smell fresh and pleasant and clean. It's not that much of an interesting scent. It's not quite as interesting as Profumo. But if you just want a nice light, fresh, breezy, aquatic scent for the summer, and you don't necessarily need it to last all day, so 8-9 hours, then this one would probably fit into that situation. I don't think this would work as an evening scent. I think it would just get a little bit lost. Certainly wouldn't work in autumn or winter. Maybe on some warmer spring days you could wear this, but certainly for me this would be a summer scent. So in the summer, during the daytime, I think would be the best time to wear this one. So I feel like I'm a little bit lukewarm about this scent. I do enjoy it, I can recommend it, I think it is a nice scent, if you're into blue aquatic scents. Although, as I've said, I don't think it's anything that you haven't smelled before. I think you will smell this and it will remind you of other blue fragrances. If you think it sounds like something you might like to try, then I would definitely recommend going into a department store. You can find this in pretty much every department store in the world, so don't blind buy this one. Go into store, try it on your skin. If you try it off a test strip, it will just give you that nice kind of fruity opening pop and you won't get the development. So do try it on skin. And I would also recommend, while you're in the store and you're trying it, try and find another blue fragrance that you really enjoy and compare it directly and see how you think it compares to that. Because I think, as I've mentioned, there are better blue fragrances out there. So it's pretty nice. I've just got scents in this same category that I prefer over this one. So that just about wraps it up for the video. I was really hoping that I could be a little bit more excited about this fragrance. When I first sprayed it and tried it, that opening 20-30 minutes was just fantastic, and I thought, yes, great, we've finally got a designer release that I can get excited about. And then it kind of just fizzled out and faded away a little bit for me. But do try it. As of making this video, it is not yet available in the UK. I had to buy this one from Spain. A lot of these releases seem to get released in Spain first. So I'm not sure when it is going to be released in the UK, but you'll probably find the prices are just in line with the rest of the Aqua di Gio line. So as I say, go to store and try it out before you buy it. If you have tried it, I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know. If you have opinions different to mine, I respect that, and I would love to see your opinions, and that would be useful for everyone else watching this video in deciding whether it's something that they might like to buy. So do let me know if you've got any experience with this one. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, keep tuning into FM and keep smelling good.